Hey everyone and welcome. This is Francesca from Social Work Portal. Today we're going to discuss the biopsychosocial assessment. I'll take you through a breakdown of this holistic assessment, discuss how it differs from a psychosocial assessment, and give you some actionable interview questions and examples. Stay till the end and you'll also find out where you can get a free downloadable biopsychosocial assessment and learn a digital process that saves you hours of admin time. Now let's get to it. When we talk about giving a thorough biopsychosocial assessment for social work, we're looking at understanding the client or patient's biological, psychological, and social influencing factors. We know from a recent study by the National Institute of Mental Health that approximately 1 in 5 U.S. adults lives with a mental illness of some type. It's not unusual for mental health issues to be entwined with social and/or biological factors. Here's an example. George, who is experiencing major depression, might have a biological vulnerability, such as a serotonin imbalance, and a social factor, such as recently being laid off from work. Those biological and social factors can be contributing to the depressive symptoms. All three should be addressed for the best outcome. A solid biopsychosocial assessment supports accurate diagnosis, treatment, and service planning. It's the clinical foundation for everything that follows. And because biopsychosocial assessment documentation requirements vary across agencies, many clinicians look for biopsychosocial assessment samples and examples to make sure they're covering everything they need. Let's dig into this a little more and break down what goes into each domain of the biopsychosocial assessment. Understanding each part of the core framework helps you ask the right questions and document comprehensively. The biological domain covers anything related to the body: chronic health conditions, medical history, sleep and appetite changes, substance use history, and developmental history. These aren't just background details. Physical health directly shapes mental health and functioning. The psychological domain is where you explore mental health, mood symptoms, anxiety, trauma responses, cognitive functioning, past diagnosis, and how the client copes with stress. When people search for biopsychosocial assessment mental health samples, this is often the section they want the most guidance on. And the social domain looks at the environment: housing stability, family and support systems, employment, finances, cultural identity, and legal involvement. Social and environmental factors can make or break a client's ability to engage with services. Together, these three domains give you the biopsychosocial assessment's defining strength, a truly holistic clinical picture. Now let's get practical with some actual biopsychosocial assessment questions that you can use. For the biological domain, you might ask, do you have any current medical diagnosis or health concerns? What medications are you currently taking? Have you experienced recent changes in appetite or sleep? And is there a family history of mental health or medical conditions? These questions help you understand the biological contributors to your client's presenting problem. For the psychological domain, how would you describe your mood most days? Have you experienced trauma that affects you today? What coping strategies do you use when stressed? Have you ever received mental health treatment? This section is the core of any biopsychosocial assessment mental health sample. It's where you document current symptoms, history, and functioning. And for the social domain, who do you consider as part of your support system? What is your current housing situation? Are there cultural or spiritual factors that influence your experience? And do you have any current legal concerns? The social context can often predict whether or not a client has the resources and support needed to follow through with the service plan. These questions form a solid biopsychosocial assessment questions list that you can adapt to your agency's format and build upon based upon your services and clients served. So let's take a look at an actual biopsychosocial assessment form. Here we're in the Case Management Hub platform. These assessments can be made to be filled out by the patient or the client, but often they're designed to be filled out by a therapist, social worker, or counselor who is interviewing their patient or client. So after you get the basic contact details, you might begin to see the psychological domain questions, asking things about their appearance and what their presenting issue is. Then you'll have a section for social domain questions, which may ask things about family history or their cultural or religious values. And you'll have a section for the biological domain questions, asking about their medical history, any injuries, illnesses, or substance use. These types of pre-built digital forms are a great way to collect that information. They'll ensure your staff is capturing all the correct information and can provide instant reporting. A common question I hear from clinicians and social workers is, what's the difference between a psychosocial assessment and a biopsychosocial assessment? A psychosocial assessment covers psychological and social factors, but it leaves out the biological domain entirely. It's often used in a crisis intervention or short-term service context where speed matters and a narrower picture is sufficient. A biopsychosocial assessment includes all three domains: biological, psychological, and social. That extra layer, the biological history, medical conditions, medications, and physical health context, gives you a much more complete clinical picture. For social workers in behavioral health, case management, and integrated care settings, the biopsychosocial assessment is the standard. It's the format that most funders expect and most treatment plans require. If you're trying to decide which format to use, the biopsychosocial assessment for social work is almost always the stronger choice. If you're worried about the number of questions and the length of the form, remember you can reduce the amount of questions. Just make sure you're covering all three domains. The expanded perspective helps you identify patterns and connections you might otherwise overlook. Even experienced clinicians and social workers can run into documentation problems. Let's talk about the most common mistakes in biopsychosocial assessments and how to avoid them. First, writing subjective interpretations instead of facts that you can observe. Something like, the client appeared tearful and spoke slowly, is documentation, whereas client is depressed is a conclusion. Save that for the clinical impressions. Second, forgetting to document strengths. A complete biopsychosocial assessment for social work always includes protective factors. Strengths inform what interventions are likely to work. Third, missing risk factors. A formal risk assessment isn't optional. Skipping it creates gaps that matter for both client safety and audit readiness. 4. Overlooking cultural or environmental influences. These belong in the social domain and can completely change your clinical picture. A client's cultural identity, spiritual beliefs, and community context are relevant clinical data. Fifth, using inconsistent terminology. Align your language with the agency's biopsychosocial assessment documentation requirements and the standards of your funding source. And 6, No client goals or next steps. The assessment shouldn't sit in isolation. It should connect to a plan. That's what turns a clinical biopsychosocial assessment example into a living document that guides services. Let me show you a place that I like to add goals as I'm going through the assessment with the client. When you're considering a case management system or software, look for one that includes goals and goal tracking. Here I'm in the Case Management Hub. I'm on a client profile and I'm going to their goals. I can easily create a goal while I'm talking with my client. Now I'll be able to track their goals and also look at reporting. A goal tracking feature in a case management software saves you tons of time and helps you more easily track the goals alongside your client. Now that you understand the purpose of the biopsychosocial assessment and how to use it effectively, let's talk about streamlining the process. How much time do you spend typing up these forms by hand every week? Are you still using spreadsheets and Word documents for case management? Besides conducting assessments, social workers and case managers also manage appointments, case notes, reporting, timekeeping, file storage, and more. Doing all of it manually is where errors happen and time gets lost. This is why electronic biopsychosocial assessment software is becoming the standard. The right platform like Case Management Hub lets you autofill client information, securely store client files, generate funder-ready reports, track staff time, and a whole lot more. If you'd like to take Case Management Hub for a spin, use the link in the description to sign up for a free 21-day trial. No credit card needed, and you can add up to 10 staff to your trial. See if it saves you time on your assessments and other case management processes. One last thing before we wrap up. I promised to show you where you can download a free biopsychosocial assessment template. So once you sign up for a free trial of Case Management Hub, just go to My Free Tools and search for the biopsychosocial assessment. You'll see a free Word document and PDF that you can download. Even if you don't subscribe after your trial, those are yours to keep. Thanks so much for hanging with me and watching my video. If you like this type of content and want to learn more about social services and nonprofit tools and resources, like this video and subscribe to our channel. You'll never miss one of our new exciting videos.